starting with this bizarre video of an Australian beatboxer who let doctors slide a camera down his throat and film his vocal cords. These are the most disturbing videos from around the world. In 2017, Tom Thumb opened his mouth and let doctors look at his throat. More precisely, he allowed a camera to slither up his nose and down his throat. Then he made a bunch of noises so that the team could see his vocal cords do their thing. The view was not for kids, lunchtime, or anyone with a sensitive stomach. The footage of the camera going up the nose and past the soft palate was gross enough. However, for those who could keep watching, it became clear how versatile the human larynx really is. Most of the noises created by the tongue's movements started at the top of Tom's soft palate against the mouth's roof. Then, twisting into freaky-looking shapes, the tissues of the larynx also moved to help form different sounds. Some squeezed like mad, while others shivered, flattened, lifted, or pulled. As remarkable as this design was, the footage remained far from pretty. Moving on from one bizarre video to another. This one nearly caused the person doing the stunt on camera serious damage. It also left him and others with a valuable life lesson. You see, thanks to this man, iPhone users now know not to bite batteries. Although the logic is obvious, this customer learned his lesson the hard way. In 2018, there was a rush after Apple users realized they had to replace their batteries. Apple was giving a discount to anyone who had an iPhone 6 or any model after that. The offer came after the company admitted to slowing these devices to stretch out battery life. Since the response was positive, a stampede occurred. Some people ended up on long waiting lists. Those who found the idea of waiting for weeks unacceptable turned to third-party providers. The problem with that avenue included fake iPhone batteries. This thought was apparently the main concern of the unnamed man who entered a Chinese store that sold electronics. He eventually found what he was looking for. Like some people bite coins to test their authenticity, he chomped down to make sure he was getting a genuine iPhone part. The battery exploded. Remarkably, the man was unharmed. But his dignity might suffer forever. The whole thing was caught on the store's security camera and uploaded to the internet. But moving on, up next, we have another wild video that bizarrely predicted the future.
Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature.
Well, a growing number of people, including Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk, have voiced their concern about a future that includes killer robots. They are not alone. Several organizations also exist to monitor the situation and spread awareness. The Future of Life Institute is dedicated to protecting human life from unsavory inventors and their bots. In 2017, they released a fictional film about killer drones. The footage had a deliberate documentary or newsread feel to make the event more real. The 7-minute clip was graphic. It followed swarms of slaughterbots as they were released to eliminate targets like US lawmakers and political activists. The machines needed no human guidance to find these people. The hand-sized robots used real-time data mining and their own intelligence to track down their victims. Once located, the unfortunate individuals received the business end of an explosive charge. Now, this was not a homemade video that went nowhere. Slaughterbots was screened at a convention at the United Nations in Geneva. This particular meeting, called the Convention on Certain Convention Weapons, has already banned lasers designed to blind people. The hope is that the film would raise awareness about just how close we are to creating weapons that can kill on their own. Frighteningly, everything that engineers would need to make them, the desire, technology, and skill, already exists. While there is growing awareness about deadly cyber weapons, the threats of natural disasters are at an all-time high. That, however, hasn't stopped some daredevils. When a hurricane comes along, people usually get out of the way. But scientists fly into the storms. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has 2 planes just for this purpose. Called after the Muppets Kermit and Miss Piggy, they brave the dangerous conditions to gather more information about hurricanes. In 2018, Kermit took on Hurricane Florence. Since this was one of the season's most powerful hurricanes, the mission was very dangerous. The 4-engine Lockheed WP-3D carried on board an aerospace engineer called Nick Underwood. He managed to capture Kermit's harrowing flight into the hurricane before the aircraft broke through to the eye of the storm. Unlike the outer chaos, the center was quiet with blue skies. Another researcher, Heather Holbach, was also filming and captured the strange beauty within the eye. The plane was surrounded by a wall of white clouds with the sun overhead. The center might appear preferable, but the real benefits are reaped from the hellish conditions surrounding it. During a flight lasting up to 12 hours, GPS cylinders are dropped into the air. The devices gather an incredible amount of data, which allows for better hurricane prediction and management. But moving on, next on the list we have wild footage of a UFO zipping past a passenger jet at an airport. This is arguably the most recent UFO sighting on our list. It involves an intriguing piece of footage captured at Doncaster Airport in the United Kingdom. A local father and son were watching arriving airplanes when they began to film one that was approaching. However, unbeknown to the witness, he had the setting in slow motion. This meant the footage, when played, was much slower than it should have been. However, because of this, the pair were able to see a strange, disc-shaped object speeding across the screen in the background. They had not seen it with their naked eye. However, the more they viewed it, the more convinced they were that it was not a bird or a drone. Once the footage appeared online, many UFO researchers were quick to state how credible the video likely was, not least due to the straight-line motion that it moved in and the fact that it moved much too fast. But moving on next, we have a beached dead whale becoming prey to a tiger shark.
Tiger! Tiger! Oh my god, oh my god!
In 2018, a crowd formed on Ponta Beach in Mozambique. They were watching a beached whale and those trying to save it. However, all rescue attempts ceased when it became clear that the humpback was too ill to survive and the animal died shortly afterward. Locals started to gather for their share of the meat, but the sharks beat them to it. The whale's corpse was deep enough for about 60 sharks to tear off a chunk and swim back to safety. However, it was too shallow for one particular customer. A tiger shark, measuring about 13 feet, grabbed a mouthful but beached itself right next to the humpback. At this point, a diving instructor joined the crowd and started filming. The footage shows the shark thrashing next to the mutilated whale, something that frightened some of the locals so badly that they can be heard shrieking and cursing. After a few minutes, a large wave pulled the shark back into the water and ended the bizarre scene. Up next, we have terrifying footage of what it's like for ships sailing through a violent storm.
I was just hanging on because you would roll out of bed if you didn't hang on.
While modern cruise ships offer luxurious travel, the open sea is a fickle and dangerous force. Unfortunately, everyone on this cruise learned that the hard way. The ship was sailing off the coast of the Bahamas when it encountered a violent storm, sending enormous waves crashing against the hull. Security footage from onboard shows people, tables and chairs being hurled across the room as the ship lists in the raging storm. It makes for an unnerving sight, reminiscent of a scene from Titanic. The storm left 42 people injured, and as compensation, passengers were offered a 25% discount on their next cruise. But finally, we might have proof that time travel actually exists. The Circus is a silent film that was written and directed by Charlie Chaplin. The film was a box office success and raised $3.8 million in 1928. In 2004, a copy of the movie was released on DVD with bonus footage. The footage shows pictures of the public attending the film, including a premiere at Grauman's Chinese Theatre in Los Angeles. After looking over the material, an Irish filmmaker named George Clark noticed something out of the ordinary in a clip of the public entering the premiere. The footage shows a woman dressed in a heavy coat and hat holding what looks like a black object to her head. As she walks, it appears the woman is talking on a cell phone, which would be impossible in 1928. Toward the end of the footage, the woman can be seen stopping and chatting in a fashion similar to modern-day cell phone users. She is wearing large shoes and has big hands. After zooming in on the video, it is clear the woman is holding a black object to her head, which caused Clark to post a video on YouTube questioning whether she might be a time traveler sent back in time to watch Chaplin's performance. In response, the story made headlines all over the world. It has since been discovered that the woman could be using a pocket-sized carbon microphone named the Siemens 1924 hearing aid. Others feel she is holding an ear trumpet. However, the explanation hasn't addressed why she is talking. Well, that's it for this video. What are your thoughts on the creepy videos on this list? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.